Okay, so we are continuing. The plan is to continue with the mitzvahs of the king, but we were in the mitzvah of the king writing his own Sefer Torah, which is not in Hilchos Malachim. So let's reread, not relearn, the first halacha of Sefer Torah, just so we can see it in context. Mitzvahs is in Sefer Tefilin, ומזוזה Sefer Torah, Zayin Aleph. Mitzvahs say al kol ish v'ish miYisrael lichtov Sefer Torah la'atzmo. Right, so it sounds like you have to write your own Sefer Torah. Shneimar v'yata kisvu lechem es hashira hazos. Klomar kisvu es haTorah sheish ba shira zo. Means write this Torah that has this shira. Lefish ein kosvin es haTorah parshios, because we don't write the Torah in parshios. So we raised the question last time, which the Torah Tamima raised, right?
No, we don't like his answer.
No, we didn't like his answer, but the question was good, which is, if this were a mitzvah to write this shira, then you would be allowed to do it, just like you have a mitzvah to write tefillin and mezuzos, and you write those as parshios, right?
I think we like the Rambam.
We like the Rambam who says, right, that the kol Torah kula is called a shira,
Right.
and the Ksaf and the Kabbalah give a different explanation of the Rambam, which we didn't necessarily understand, but okay, fine. But the Rambam is not saying it. We did say we were going to look at the Yad Pshuta on this. Which, by the way, let's do a book. What is it called? Rabinovich Pathways. Yeah. So I was given this as a gift. Pathways to Their Hearts by Rabbi Nachman Rabinovich, the author of the Yad Pshuta, and he wrote it in Hebrew, but it's translated to English, which is about his approach to Psak and many other things. And so I'm looking forward to getting into that. I'll probably share bits of that. Okay. Klomar kisvu es haTorah. Let me just see if that's too long. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to look at it on my own. Okay. And I don't want to get caught up on that another day. Needlessly. If it's needfully, then we'll do it. Okay. Even if a person's father left him a Torah, it is a mitzvah to write his own. Now that one we do need to look at the notes, because is it let's see, he just quotes the source, right? Because we said that there's two ways to read the Rambam there. One is that really he holds the only mitzvah is to write your own Sefer Torah, which could mean to write it or could mean to commission it. And then this is just refuting a Havamina, that the purpose is to have a Sefer Torah. And so he's saying, no, that you're not Yotze. Or the other way to understand the thing is that there's three tiers, right? That there's the writing it, then there's the like writing it totally yourself, or doing the Haggah, and then there's commissioning it, and then there's just getting one.
Right.
But we saw the whole, I don't know if this is the right use of the term rigmarole, but that's the word that came to my lips about of the issue of the Torah Tamimus theory, that it's to produce more Torahs in Israel. Right. So it's mashma from if I just had to read from the Rambam, it sounds like he's saying you have to write your own Torah, and commissioning it would be, fine. Yeah. But just getting one is not enough. What was that? Right. That's what it sounds like. The Alpha P, okay. Yeah, the Alpha P, no, sorry. I keep on forgetting that he says it again. The Alpha P, Sefer Torah, mitzvah lichto. No, I just read that. That's the third one. If he wrote it by hand, so those are the only two options practically, right? You either write it or you have someone else do it. And then the middle option within that is which is just a strange thing. Yeah. Right. Because it's you got two kilus now. Kilu kasvo kulo. And then if you do that, it's kilu misinai, Yeah. All right, now we get to the Melech. HaMelech. Over what? Okay, we could try to figure it out. Okay, we could try to figure it out. Yeah. Are you reminded of anything else when he says kilu misinai?
No.
I'm reminded of Hakel. And I just want to compare his lashon by Hakel. I think there he says it's as if you heard it at Sinai, but maybe he says kiblu, and if it's kiblu, then very interesting, because this is going to be in korbanos, because it's individual korban, and it's at the end of Chagiga. So he says, Gerim she'ina makirin. This is in Chagiga Gimel Vav. Gerim who can't understand Hebrew. Wait, is that where he starts? I'm not going to read all the halachos, but the Gerim who don't understand Hebrew, they are obligated to prepare their minds or their hearts to attentively listen with their ears, to listen with dread and fear and joy and trembling, as if it is written, was given at Sinai. Like the day it was given at Sinai. Even great chachamim who know the entire Torah are obligated to listen with great excessive kavanah. And anyone who cannot listen or understand, he should make his heart intend focus on this. The pasuk only established this to strengthen the true religion. And he should see himself as though he is being commanded in it now. And he's hearing it because the king is like an agent to there's another king halacha he's an agent to make heard the words of God. So he does not use the lashon of Kabbalah Torah. Right, but it sounds like it's in terms of the experience of hearing the Torah, not Kabbalah Torah per se. So Kabbalah Torah is a more abstract term. Right. Right. That's an interesting thing. Mm-hmm. You could take that approach. I don't quite see the idea of cost in Kabbalah Torah.
Well, I think that.
Or
you don't have to say that because that's not only from the writing.
Yeah, I mean the way I would. This is where my intuition goes. Again, not based on anything, but this Torah is being produced for you, and this is your Torah. So I feel like it's the personal connection to the Hefta Shel Torah that or to the Dvar Hashem that makes a kilu. And at Sinai, that was each Jew heard Mipi Gvura, so that's where my intuition would go for that. Yeah. Now Kol Magia b'Sefer Torah Afilo Os Achas Harizek Ilu Kasvu Kulo. So I understand halachically how that's true, but because you need each letter to be to be kosher in order for it to be a Hefta Shel Torah.
Right.
But I wonder if this has to do with a recognition of the integrity of the Torah B'Chsav and how you need everything, how every single component is necessary to have a Torah. And in a certain sense, obviously this is not true literally, but in a certain sense, if you don't have any part of the Torah, then the entire thing is null and void. I mean, in terms of the way the Rambam formulates the Ikar, anyone who denies even though it's achas, it's as if he's denying, that's a kofar b'Torah. So I wonder if this is it has anything to do with that. Okay, so those are speculations. Okay. Hamelach Metzuva Lichtov Sefer, glad you pushed me. Hamelach Metzuva Lichtov Sefer Torah Acher La'atmo L'Shem Hamelach. So the king is commanded to write another Sefer Torah for himself in the name of the king, or for the sake of the king. Yeser al Sefer Shayalo Kishu Hedyot. In addition to the one that he had when he was a Hedyot. Shneimar V'Haya Kishivta al Kisim Mamlachto V'Chasav Lo V'Gomer. As it says when he sits on his throne of his kingship, he should write this copy of the Torah on a book from before the Kohanim and Levim, and it should be with him. He should read it all the days of his life. In order that he should learn to fear Hashem, his God, lishmor as kol divrei Torah hazos, to keep all the words of this Torah, and these chukim to do them. Levilti rum levavo me'echav, so that his heart does not become haughty over his brethren. Levilti sur min hamitzvah yaminu smol, and so that he doesn't deviate from the mitzvah right or left. Leman yarich yamim al mamlachto, so that he should prolong his days on his throne in his kingship. Hu abanot mikerav Yisrael, he and his children in the midst of Israel. A side background question here is about the Rambam's decision to call his book the Mishneh Torah. I think that's just another good question here. About I always wonder how many of these references is he, because certainly he says it's called the Sefer Torah because it's a restatement of the oral Torah, but he knows the pasuk that this is from a term about the written Torah, and he knows that the king's Torah is designed to promote limud, yiras Hashem, and prevent haughtiness and to not deviate from the mitzvahs yaminu small. So I understand limud, I understand yira. I understand not deviating from the mitzvah of yamin small. The levilti rum levavo me'achav is an interesting one, you know.
Yeah.
So I feel like you could do an interesting drush on the calling the Mishnah Torah. Okay. So then Rambam says, Magin oso mi sefer ha'azara al pi based in hagadol. So they check it from the sefer ha'azara based on the based in hagadol, according to the based in hagadol, or by authority of the based in hagadol, right? So that's the one that the official Sefer Torah ideally it's the one that Moshe Rabbeinu wrote, because Moshe Rabbeinu wrote a Torah. He wrote 12 Sefer Torah for all the tribes, and he put one that was either in or next to the Aron Bris Hashem, and that's the Sefer Torah. Yeah. Okay. Ze shahaya lo kishu hedyot. This one that he had when he was a hedyot, manicho beves genazav. He should put it in his treasury. V'zesh kasav o shenichtav lo acher shemalach. And this one that was written, that he wrote, or that was written for him after he became king, Yihye imo tami. By the way, you see from here that he's just clarifying that the king can also have it written for him. He doesn't have to write it himself. No. The hedyot doesn't have to carry it with him all the time. Because I guess he's not. Yeah, it's a good question. Why? Why does he have to say what he does with it? Yeah, I mean, I guess this is my intuition. This Sefer Torah has to be halachically defined as his second Sefer Torah. So, like, I guess the havamina is that you could, like, give it to a shul or sell it for one of the purposes that's much to sell Sefer Torah for. But it's saying that he has to keep it. So this is his second Sefer Torah. That's what I would think. So this one that he wrote or was written from Yihye should be with him all the time. When he goes out to war, Sefer Torah ze imo. This Sefer Torah should be with him. Someone needs to do I could just do this on Dali or something like that. A king holding a Torah and fighting the battles. That'd be pretty epic. Nichnas, when he comes back in, v'huimo, it's with him. Yeshiv badin, when he sits in judgment, v'huimo, it's with him. Mesav, when he's reclining, v'hukenegdo, it's opposite him. So he doesn't have to I
imagine it's more like a banner
more like a what? Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Yeah.
So if he had not finished his Torah before he became king, he hadn't started, then it could be one and the same Torah.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, the way he formulates it is Yeser al Sefer. Yeser Sefer Shahaya lo Hedyot. So you're saying if he never ended up getting that one?
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's a good shaila. I accept the shaila. All right, we'll see if I can find anything. Oh yeah, okay, good. All right, so let me finish reading. Lo haylo Sefer Torah la'atmo, but you anticipated. That's good. If he did not have a Sefer Torah before he reigned, Sarich lichtov acher shemalach shnei Sefer Torah. He needs to write two after he becomes king. Echad minichu beves genazav, v'sheni hi imo tamid. One in his treasuries, the other one is with him constantly. Lo yasur imo ela b'layla. It should only leave him at night. The only 3 times he can't have it are when he goes into the bathhouse or the bathroom or when he sleeps on his bed. I wonder why he puts that halacha here instead of in all these examples of accompanying him. Yeah. Now let's just read the one halacha. I think he has one halacha in Milchim. Yeah, right. Yeah, that's true. That would have been fine also. Okay, so let's see what if there's redundancy here, because I think there is. This is in Malachim Milchamas Gimel Aleph. Kosev lo Sefer Torah lishmo yeser al Sefer shenich lo avosav umagiho mi Sefer hazara al pi beisin shel shivim ve'echad. Im lo hinich lo avosav Sefer o she'avad. That's an interesting thing. He lost it. Kosev shnei Sefer Torah. Echad menicho beves genazav shu mitzvah bo kechol echad mi Yisrael v'hasheni lo yazuz milfanav ela be'es she kanes leves hakise o lemerchat o lemacham she'en roi lekriya. Yosel milchama v'hu imo nechnas v'hu imo Yoshe b'din v'hu imo mesav v'hu knegdo shneimar v'haisav imo karbo k'mei chayav. So that's very redundant, right? So this is, I feel like, an application of the principle that whenever the Rambam codifies halakha in 2 places, then there's a different like identity to those halachos. I'm curious what that is.
Is this also saying that if the king inherits the Torah from the previous king, is after his own another royal one?
Good question.
Because it seems to be saying like
Yeah.
which inherently doesn't work for the normal Sefer Torah, which would mean that it has to work for the king of Sefer Torah.
What do you mean it doesn't work for the normal Sefer Torah?
As if you inherit one, you self-write one.
Right.
But this is saying that if you don't inherit one or you lost it, you have to.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So you're saying for his Hedyot Torah, then isn't he going to end up needing to have 3?
Yeah.
Right.
No, I'm more thinking that this means that for the king Sefer Torah, he doesn't actually need to write it; just needs to have been written by a king. Because it says Sefer, then he has to write 2, which imply that if they did leave one for him, then he doesn't have to write.
Right. It doesn't imply
But
that.
it doesn't work for the Hedyot one, so that's to work.
Right.
So they only use the king one for
Right. Then I think that's a good diuk. Let me just.
No, wasn't
Yeah.
isn't it possible that you have to write and he won off him inheritance? Wasn't that a whole Machshavah on the Natra? I think I said the Natra was only going to him.
Right, but just from the Rambam though, the Rambam I think is saying like Yosef saying, right? If his fathers did not give him a sefer, did not bequeath him a sefer Torah, then he writes a second one. But if they did bequeath him a sefer Torah, then he would not write a second one. Right. Yeah, I think it's a good diuk though, right?
I mean, maybe not.
Because of
I you know, it's not going to have a problem.
okay, so let me see. No, it doesn't say it. What about the Radvaz? No. There's no Yapshuta. Lacha Mishnah. All right. Well, I guess I gotta see if I can find that. What was the first thing I said I was going to look into? Oh no, that one was answered. Yeah. Okay. And then let's just finish reading this though. Oh no, then that's the end of what we're at. Yeah. Okay. So if I can find anything about that tomorrow, we can do that tomorrow. I want to show you something unrelated. For some reason, people were sharing this article today, even though it seems like this was a discovery in October 2022. So they found new handwritten Maimonides texts at Cambridge from the Genizah. And the thing that makes this unique is they found the Rambam writing in a Romance dialect. So it's a list of the, I'll just read this here. A scrap of 900-year-old paper, part of Cambridge's Cairo Genizah collection, has been identified as containing the handwriting of legendary Jewish philosopher Moses Maimonides. The pages are a glossary of basic terms related to herbs, basic foods, and colors, and were identified by Jose Martinez Delgado, a visiting professor. So the thing that's cool about this is how he discovered it. So I saw this article. So it says, he says, I decided to have a look at a list I made when I visited 6 years ago of lexicographical Genizah fragments to see if any of them might be suitable for the book. And I saw in my list one I described as an Andalusi script. I looked at it and something about it seemed familiar. At the last line, I realized what I was looking at. I had seen this handwriting before. I quickly sent a messenger to my friend Amir Ashur. I didn't say what I was thinking. I just asked him to look at the fragment too. He said he checked and then came confirmation of my suspicions. Amir had seen what I had seen. We were looking at Maimonides' handwriting in some sort of Romance dialect. We decided to publish the discovery together and wrote the paper in 2 days. So he recognized the handwriting of the Rambam, and they have samples here. So I think these are two. These are this 163.57 is the document he's talking about. So pistachio, I don't know exactly how to say pistachio. And then in another manuscript that they know is the Rambam, or lachem, meat, and the way that the Rambam writes it there. And so they ask, is this proof that he spoke Spanish? And they say, first of all, it's not Spanish. It was some Romance dialect, but they're still trying to figure out what it was. And then this is the cool thing. So it says, the glossary covers 4 semantic categories: colors, flavors, aromas, actions, and food. Why was Maimonides collecting these words? What does it tell us about him? The sequence of words is, professor answers, the sequence of words is interesting as we are seeing him at work, writing a progression of words that make sense to him. The terms don't follow alphabetical order. They are arranged logically by basic associations: bread, water, and opposites: black, white. The category of colors ends in light and dark, and then moves to flavors and aromas. The connection between these is presumably the senses, moving from sight to taste to smell. The list of foods moves from basic foods to vegetables to edible seeds to seeded fruits to dried fruits and nuts, etc., etc. Okay, the list of actions first describes the actions. Oh, no, sorry, that's not the part I wanted to read. This is the part I wanted to read. So is this proof that he spoke Spanish? So he says, we don't know if it's Spanish. And he says, the words are simple. And second, if anything, this is an indication that Maimonides did not speak a Romance dialect. The words are simple: bread, water, meat, egg. These are basic words, and it seems he was trying to acquire them. He wrote out his list of words and then filled them underneath as he learned the translation. Some categories of terms are not fully translated. He wasn't able to get translations of all the action terms. We know of different Spanish visitors to Egypt during Maimonides' time. It's possible he was getting input from different sources, so it may not even be one Romance dialect represented. He's also writing down what he hears, so there are some idiosyncratic transcriptions and also some errors. He writes the pair eat and drink, but drink is incorrectly translated with the word wine. He didn't know enough of the language to realize the translation error. So they speculate. He says, why was he collecting these words? He was a physician with students, so perhaps he was gathering the terms for a medical or educational reason, or perhaps he just enjoying quizzing visiting Spaniards. Just an interesting, one of those like little glimpses into like, something about this is very like humanizing in an interesting way. Like, oh yeah, Ron was like taking notes. Like this is like, they didn't have Duolingo. So he was just like, learning other stuff. So I thought it was just cool that the recognizing the handwriting and then like asking another professor without telling him, like, I'm not telling you why I'm asking you this. What do you think? And then he's like, oh, that's the wrong handwriting, Yeah. And it is distinct handwriting. Like just this picture, this is not the fragment. This is a Mishnah Torah. I mean, I can't tell whether it's distinctive, but like you could imagine how someone could look at this and be like, oh yeah, these are distinctive words here. Yeah. Anyway, just thought that was cool. Wanted to share. Yeah.
I was just one thing. You're going to try